All right, ignore that. Welcome to a very special edition of Dead Ball Dancing, where we cover football. That's my bad, team. Recorded live on our other show yesterday morning, and I switched over everything but the intro video. If you haven't caught Dead Ball Dancing, that's our college basketball show. It's a lot of fun. That's live Saturday mornings. But this is yelling and screaming. NFL content from Club 602. Here, my buddy Sean. Sean, how's it going, man?
Not too bad, not too bad. I guess Halloween weekend, you got a time change, things just flipping upside down this weekend, obviously.
I just set our outro, so that'll be good. And I got to remember to fix this all later.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. In honor of Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, all the celebrations this weekend, All Saints Day. Your boy's got his referee jersey on because there's no jersey for a winning team quite like a referee jersey.
I thought it was a Chiefs jersey.
Hey, some people say it's an Eagles jerseys too at this point.
Good week of football here. Obviously had our Thursday night game. Lamar comes back and kind of just picks up where we figured he would. Ravens beat the Dolphins 28-6 in a game that felt a lot more like an ass whooping than that final score indicated. Dolphins first 4 drives all into the red zone, came away with 6 points and then never scored again. So I don't know that we expected any different. I guess I'll eat a little bit of crow. Lamar looked like a consummate pocket passer. I don't think he's quite 100% right. He had a couple long scrambles. I don't think he hangs out in the pocket like that unless he has to, unless he was trying to prove a point. But whatever the reason was, he did it really well. He was very efficient. 4 touchdown passes for Lamar is impressive.
5 incompletions, 4 touchdown patches.
Yeah,
not bad.
I'm worried that Lamar will continue to mask problems with this Ravens team. I know I've given them a lot of crap this year, not being able to win against perceived playoff teams. And it's mostly a defensive issue. But I think having Lamar makes it so you don't have to address any of those issues, right? You're going to win more games than you lose. You're going to put up big numbers, and you don't replace an MVP, right? But I think with his salary and with the holes everywhere else, can you make an argument that Lamar is part of the problem, or is he just the only solution that this Ravens team has?
I'm going to go ahead and go with the latter. I don't think he's the only solution. I think that they spent a lot of time bolstering that offense and just making sure that they had it covered on all levels. And then you look at the defense and you're like, I mean, outside of Roquan, maybe 1 or 2 other guys on that defense, you're like, who am I going to rely on this week to make the tackles? The defense is just super inconsistent. And you are correct. They play to Lamar's strengths, but the problem is that you can't rely on a guy to put up 40 points every week. It's the same issue that we see with some of those other high-powered AFC teams, where they have phenomenal offenses and defenses that are lackluster at best. You could say that for every single high-powered quarterback in the AFC, with the exception of probably, no, maybe Mahomes, the only guy who really had a top tier defense as far as allowing points in the last couple seasons. Everybody else is, on any given week, their defense is going to give up 30, 35, 40 points. And so I think what we got to see again is what we expected from Lamar. He plays a pretty efficient game. He's not throwing for 300, 400 yards. He's going to give you 4 touchdowns. And that's what you need from him. And then on the back of that, when their offense is playing well, when Lamar's hitting and they have to sit back in that defense, suddenly you get Derrick Henry popping off 20, 30, 40-yard runs. And, he's out here for 120-something yards this game. Just a complete ass whooping on offense. The counter to that, though, is you look at what happened with the Dolphins, and you've got Tua, who early on in the game didn't look too bad, but the execution was not there for that team. I mean, you got fumbles, you got that pick. You got missed field goals. You got penalties where in positions where you can't have penalties. And so earlier on that game, it felt like the Dolphins had a chance to really put themselves in a position to win, and they just could not punch it in. And if you can't score in the red zone, then how the hell are you going to score? And I think that their issue is really they're not a good team without having Tyreek Hill be that guy who spreads the field. Because really all they did was just stack the box, and they made Tua have to move with the ball. They made him try to throw these long downfield passes, and I think he needs to retire. I'm done. It's a wrap. It's done. Early on in the game, you see a guy who's maybe got it going toward it. I just feel like I get a fatigue, or I get these points where he's just throwing the ball to like nobody. Like nobody is there at all for his team. Not even the same color. I'm like, did he throw it at the circle? Did he throw it at the line? Is he throwing it at the 40? Like, what is he throwing it at? So I mean
his brain is scrambled eggs, man. I mean, at this point, I'm like, how many concussions does he have on record? I mean,
he is. I don't know, but I know they're lying about him.
Yeah, Tua's Tua, right? I mean, he is probably still above replacement level quarterback in the NFL, which I think speaks more to kind of the talent level in the NFL right now than Tua's positioning necessarily. But my question for you, boy genius, Mike McDaniel, right? Were we all fleeced by this, right? I know he's a media darling. He's now 30-30 as a head coach. He's not a good head coach. He did some unique things, and I think it got everyone's attention. But is Mike McDaniels who you want steering the ship?
Honestly, seeing the other issues that they're having, and with the issues with the execution, I'm going to say that McDaniels still keeps his job for now. I think that the biggest problem that they had is what the guys did on the field. Again, you can't blame him for penalties. You can't blame him for a missed field goal. His team was put in positions to score. They scored touchdown on any one of those 4 drives. We're talking about a 2-score game. They scored touchdown on 2 of those, and we're talking about a 1-score game. So it's like they had every opportunity to execute, and they did not punch it in. And that comes down to the players. That falls on their shoulders. Realistically, you guys get paid money on offense to score the ball, and you get paid money on defense to stop the ball. And if you don't do either one of those things, I can't blame the head coach for that. What do? You can't. It's not like I'm going to swap in a second string guy who's going to be less efficient, less effective at that so there's got to be some leadership coming from the team. It's got to come from the locker room, and I think that's where they're missing something right now. I definitely think that they're missing some leadership in the locker room that they really need to figure out, because that's what's going to drive this team to that next level. You look at some of the other teams in the NFL, some of the teams that had weaker earlier seasons, teams that you expect to be good and didn't really execute early on, and they got their shit together. The Ravens, example, cleared their locker room of everything that wasn't football related. If it was, they had games in there, they had little things in there that were supposed, and Lamar was like, nah, we got to get this shit out of here. We got to focus on football. We got to focus on winning games. And I think that's the leadership that we need to see from a team like the Dolphins, who have some talent on their team, but they don't execute when they need to. And you saw players look like they gave up toward the end of the game. Guys who just didn't run out routes all the way. Guys who didn't, follow through on the ball. Guys who didn't make the tackles. They kind of give you a snuff of a tackle. And it's like, there's some, I can only blame McDaniels for so much. And at the end of the day, you're an NFL player. You're getting paid to play this game. You need to put your heart, sweat, and soul in it. You did it to get to this far. You can't give up now.
I am glad Tyreek Hill is out. I think this receiving core has some talent that wouldn't have gotten time and exposure if he was still playing. Waddle's obviously Waddle. Good to see him kind of performing with Tyreek gone, but Malik Washington is solid, and Westbrook-Ikhine is solid. Taj Washington has looked good as well. I don't know that it's enough to buoy what's a really poor offensive line, and
Well, if you saw, they brought it. They had tackle eligible for almost every play. It was clockwork. And if that's the case, then you really have an issue with your offensive line. If you are constantly bringing in another offensive lineman to play as your tight end just because you need somebody to block for you, like
Yeah.
that speaks dividends. So they have some issues there, some personnel issues, and obviously their team wasn't necessarily built without Tyreek Hill being in there, without having that guy that's going to spread the field for you. In that way, he's electric. He's no matter where he's on the field, you've always got to have eyes on him. And so I think defenses are feeling more comfortable now, and it being able to sit back there with their coverage and not have to bring that extra guy back, so they can keep that box stacked, and it can force that offensive line to do their job, which they're not doing a good job at all. They're not pulling properly. They're not picking the right assignments. So it's tough. It's tough when you're a quarterback, and that's and you got to fall behind that line.
I just don't see the route to being good. They got a bunch of dead cap space. They have ridiculous contracts with these guys. I don't know that the Dolphins fix is like a 1, 2, 3 season fix. I don't know if Mike McDaniels has that much time left. Do you think this Dolphins team can go 500 the rest of the way?
I don't see it. I just don't see it because I'm not getting the consistent play and I'm not getting the execution that I would need from them. There's teams in the NFL right now that are streaking upward in their own division. The teams that are streaking upward, and I just don't see them being one of those teams right now. So it's unfortunate, but the Dolphins season is cooked. It's over at this one. I think they really need to take a hard look at what they do at quarterback and what they do with that offensive line in the offseason and figure out some moves, whether you got to go in the draft, because they're going to have a pretty decent draft position, or whether you go out and find somebody, make some trades, really put your team in the best situation to win football games. And it's going to start with that offensive line.
The Ravens, on the other hand, 3-5 now. Lost games to all the big teams they played when Lamar was healthy. They're still favored to win their division by a pretty wide margin. And,
which is crazy.
We've given some flack to the AFC North and those atrocious defenses. I mean, they're a game and a half back of the Steelers, and I'm not scared about that. If I'm the Ravens, I'm not looking up at the Steelers in the standings and think that like I can't do this. I mean, we said it from the beginning, even when the Ravens were losing games, like this is a playoff team. This team will go to the playoffs. And the question was more, can they compete with those teams? Not will they get there? And it's telling to see that even losing an MVP caliber player, losing games to really good teams, you're still right where everyone expected you to be. They're going to win 10 games. They're going to be 10-7, and they're going to win the division, and they're going to lose the Bills in the playoffs. Like
clockwork.
Nothing has changed for me. Nothing has changed for me from day one till now. Like the Ravens are the Ravens.
You're not wrong. Honestly, the Ravens are the Bills, and the Bills are just underneath. It's that tier. Has not moved anywhere yet. And it realistically, both teams did the same thing. They went out and made sure that they secured strong running backs for their offense to bolster. And I think right now we're seeing the Bills defense execute more than we've seen them in previous seasons. But any given Sunday, the Bills are just randomly put up a stinker, and suddenly the Chiefs are back in it, and they're the ones who are going to potentially win the AFC. So it's like you never really know what's going to happen. And we got the game of the week this week, and we got some other game to talk about. But I just feel like that division, it used to be one that had stout defenses. We used to talk about it all the time, and now you're like, well, they're mid-tier. They still have some arguably the best offensive, a bunch of really good offensive teams in that division, but just the defenses are absolutely atrocious. And if you're ever betting on that division, always bet the over. Always bet the over. Because there's a high probability there's going to be 7 touchdowns in that game, 8 touchdowns in that game, and 4 of them are going to be from one team, and the other ones are going to be something that the defense just let go. So it's just going to be a game that goes down to the wire a lot of times. So always bet the over.
Okay, so let's get straight to the game of the week. We've kind of hit all around it.
We had to.
The Chiefs and the Bills play this week. No brainer for game of the week. This is a massive game for playoff seeding. We think, right? It's week 9. I get it. We're a long way from the playoff, but there's not a person in the world doesn't think the Chiefs and the Bills aren't both playoff teams, which means this game is for seeding.
100%. But doesn't matter.
In Buffalo.
Doesn't matter.
Which I think factors in a little bit. This is one I think the Bills really, really need to win. This is one of the most vulnerable Chiefs teams we've seen, which, I mean, they're not, right? But
they're getting healthy now.
We're splitting hairs on these teams because that's how good they are. But if there's ever been a spot for the Bills to like show how dominant they can be against the Chiefs, I think it's here. They had that nasty loss. Everything seems to be hitting for the Bills. The Bills are executing in a way that can take advantage of some of Kansas City's weaknesses. My big concern here is that they won't, right? Mahomes is still Mahomes. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs. Do you feel comfortable picking the Chiefs outright in a spot like this? Or is there so much minutia to it that it can't be that black and white?
Well, I don't feel comfortable picking the Chiefs outright in this game. And if you're anybody but the Bills, you don't care. The truth of the matter is the regular season, Josh Allen has gotten the best of Patrick Mahomes in their series. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It kind of feels like it's the same playbook over and over and over again. And we see this happen where the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and then the Chiefs come in the playoffs and they take the win, the one that matters. So if you're the Bills, yeah, showing that you're dominant and this and that. I mean, we're talking mid-season. We're talking about a streaking upward team right now who's getting healthy in the Chiefs. If you're the Chiefs, this is you telling your fan base that you're back, that this season isn't a lost season, and that you are still that powerhouse team that the AFC. And just to calm down the early season, you had some issues going on with personnel. You had some injuries, you had suspension, you had things going on that really weren't indicative of how good your team truly is. To me, it's going to be a battle of play clock. If the Bills are going to win this game, they're going to have to control that play clock. They're going to have to use the run game as much as they possibly can. And I think this is the first time that the Bills have had a truly good run game, like a one where it's like, all right, now that offense is not just top tier because of Josh Allen. They're executing in the way that they really, really have to in order to be able to, win those big games. And I think this season right now might be Josh's best chance to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, but the regular season games just don't really do too much. It's always a fun game to watch. It's always an energized game. It's always a game that's going to have some good highlights from it. It's always going to be a tight-knit game. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if they end up playing each other in the playoffs, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes, bar none.
I think for me, Josh Allen is the most exciting player to watch in the NFL. That doesn't translate to wins necessarily, but I'm glad that there's a rivalry in the game. We had Manning and Brady, right? We had McNabb and Roethlisberger. There's some of those like quarterback matchups that like you could just count on. It would be on Sunday Night Football. It would be in prime time, and you're like, yeah, these guys going head to head. And yes, it's a team sport, and yes, it matters, but like this is Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes head to head, and having like the pageantry of that feels like 2000s football. We've had great quarterbacks play over the last 10 seasons for sure, but I feel like these two are what was missing. There was like this gap where there wasn't these two great quarterbacks going head to head, and these guys have been electric. And as much as I want to say Josh Allen is more exciting, Josh Allen is the better athlete, the Chiefs are favored by 2.5 in Buffalo here for a reason. And the reason is because Patrick Mahomes is probably the best quarterback of all time. Doesn't have as many rings as Brady yet, but the guy wins games. He just wins games. And it's crazy that I can convince myself that a 5-3 Chiefs team is bad, because we know they're going to be there at the end of the season. We know they're going to be one of the last 4-6 teams standing. And so it doesn't matter if they're 5-3. It doesn't matter what has happened. Like you said, they're getting healthy. I want to see Mahomes outduel Josh Allen. That's what I want to see from this game. Because like you said, ultimately, does this game matter? Probably not. So give me something to pull for, right? I want to see Mahomes outduel Josh Allen for what feels like the first time in a long time. Josh Allen puts up the numbers, the Chiefs win. I want to see Mahomes put up the numbers. I don't care
In
who
the
wins
Chiefs,
the
yeah.
game. I want Mahomes to have the rushing touchdown. I want Mahomes to throw the ball around. Give me a Josh Allen game from Mahomes, and I'll be happy because I feel like that's what excitement I can derive from this game. Because whoever wins this Week 9 NFL game, it's kind of meaningless. The Bills aren't even in first place in their division. We know where everything ends up, right? But that's what I want to see. I want to see some Patrick Mahomes vintage action.
You're looking for a nice little barn burner. I'm not going to lie, it would be a great game to watch. I would love to see that. Very exciting. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, if you're a Bills fan, this game matters to you. You always want to see Josh Allen beat Patrick Mahomes. It gives you hope for the playoffs. But if you're a Chiefs fan and you lose this game, you're like, okay, I've seen this story before. As a matter of fact, I want him to lose to him in the regular season because that means he's going to come into the playoffs with that chip on his shoulder. So by all means, in Buffalo as well, go for it. Now, with that being said, you were 100% correct on the seeding. I think there's got to be a point at some point where the Bills end up being the top seed, play the Chiefs in Buffalo, and beat them in a playoff game. I just don't know what that looks like. It's going to take a stellar offensive performance, and again, it's going to take that defense quieting down Mahomes, keeping him contained, and it's going to take the offense controlling the play clock. And they have the ability to do that now better than they've had in previous seasons with Cook back there at your running back. Their offensive line seems like it's doing a better job than it's done in previous season. Allen doesn't have to roll out as much as he usually does, and so you get a much more contained game where he gets to just play and allow plays to develop and get the ball downfield and really control the game clock. And having a running back that can just take over the game late and not have to rely on your quarterback going 3 and out on a drive that puts your team in a bad position where you guys now have to stop the other team on a field goal, like that's paying dividends. That's going to pay dividends for them. So I think this is their best chance right
nasty,
now to
man.
win. Dude, he's solid. He's solid. Like he's top 5 running backs in the league right now, obviously. And I think that's going to continue throughout the rest of the season. And I think he's going to have his best career. He's going to have his best career season this year, hands down.
I'm not sure how much home field advantage matters in the playoffs for these two teams because they play in the cold. Like looking at the standings, like making the Colts come to town is way more important than making the Chiefs come to town, at least in my mind. Like getting a dome team out of the dome, it just feels like a more important piece. I mean, we've seen the Chiefs beat the shit out of the Bills in the snow.
That's true.
It's loud up there, I guess, but like when you're at that elite level, like I don't know how much home field advantage really matters. Like, sure, you'd rather have the noise on your side than not, but like, can you remember the last time, like in a key playoff position, like we saw a false start that was like crowd based?
I mean, to me, it's just going to be the comfort level. I think right now the best thing is just the comfort level. Having to play in Kansas City in -27, -30 degrees, whatever the hell it was, polar vortex.
So stupid.
That was nuts. And obviously, having to play in Buffalo and having in the middle of a blizzard is obviously not an easy thing to do either. But I think the team that the Bills have built right now is the best team that they could have offensively to beat the Chiefs at home. And the issue that they've had is that whether it was home or away, they're not beating them in the playoffs. But I think that there is definitely a home field advantage for Buffalo if they, based on their offense right now, if they can get this win and take the position away from the Chiefs. So yeah, we'll really see how that plays out. But yeah, obviously you're right. Playing the Colts, taking a dome team and moving them into that weather is definitely going to be a benefit for either one of these teams. So we'll see how that works out. But right now the Colts are looking hot, so they're not making nobody's moving anywhere.
Watch Bosa. Watch Bosa today. I think he's going to get a sack today.
I like it.
That like Rousseau is so fast. I think it's going to open up Bosa for a lot today.
Fair enough.
We have other awesome games on the slate here. Oh shit. This
Using the word
Chiefs
awesome.
Bills total is 52.5. It's the second highest total behind this shitty Cardinals game this week. That's wild. That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. But honestly, like I said,
Yeah,
bet
I can
the
see
over.
it. 28-24. That's 52.
Yeah, 30. I mean, think about how likely it is that we'll have a 30-30 game. Is it realistic that we have a 30-30 game? I mean, for the Chiefs to score 30, it's doable. And if they're excited, especially this rivalry going on, I could see that being the case with them being a healthier Chiefs team. The Bills, I expected to score 30. So it's really
I mean, they
like
get going downhill so fast.
30-24. You got the over. Think about it.
Yeah, I'll probably hit the over here. San Francisco and the Giants doesn't have as much glitter on it as it would have maybe a week ago. If there's no Scadaboo, do we even care?
I think that it still gives a look if you're a Giants fan at what your team's future looks like. Obviously, no Scadaboo. That energy is not there. But he should. Is he going to be in the on the sideline in the locker room, or is he at home? Because having that guy around your team,
it was pretty gross.
Oh, you're gonna stand? Shit, he's gonna sit on the he could sit his ass on the skyline. Throw him on a cart. What are you talking about? They got jazzy scooters for these guys. Look, that's a guy that you want in your locker room, no matter what injury he has. As a matter of fact, that's motivation, if anything.
I think if you're the Giants, though, you have to ask him to stay home because that crazy fuck, he'll throw on a helmet at halftime and try to go out there. Like,
I don't think
who on your team, from a staffing standpoint, is going to stop Scadaboo from going on the field?
The trainers, the officials, everybody. Shit.
If he wants out there,
people ran into the tent, run to the tent, man. Nah. Look, I think that guy is an energy guy. I think that he's a guy that keeps your team's spirit high. And him and Jackson Dart just play off of each other so well that I think he's the type of dude that would be out there in a cast, in a brace, whatever the hell they got him on, sitting. But he's out there cheering his teammates on, supporting them, and then when they make a good play, they come over to him and say, "Hey, look, dude, we're doing this for you." I think that's the energy that the Giants have been waiting for. I think they were hoping that maybe they get something like that with Russ, that resurgence. But I think that's what they really need from this team right now is to look to the future and really feel like they're going in the right direction. I mean, San Francisco's just been around. They're not going anywhere no matter who they put back there in that system. And so if you're the Giants, you want to do your best at this point to really put some hands on San Fran today and really show that you are moving forward. You are a team that's somebody who's going to be formidable in that NFC. Because your own division, I mean, the Eagles are your number one in that division, and the Commanders have been streaking upwards. So you got to put your name in that conversation.
We'll talk about the Commanders. I got some thoughts on the Commanders. Chargers, Titans. Are the Titans the worst football team in the state of Tennessee? Do you think the Volunteers could beat this Titans team?
Loaded question. No, I don't think they could. But it would be way closer of a game than it should be. That's the problem.
For at least a quarter. I mean,
it would be way closer of a game than it should be.
Man. Chargers are a 10-point road favorite.
I mean, the Chargers supposed to be.
Yesterday, it was 9.5. I'm like, yeah, why not?
On paper, though, the Chargers are a good team. On paper, they're a very good team. They're inconsistent, absolutely. As there's still play call issues sometimes, absolutely. But they are a good team on paper, and when they show that they can win games, when they're executing on all levels, the defense comes out, and you're like, oh shit, these guys are top tier defense. Then you watch the offense can put up numbers, and it's like, oh shit, all right, the Chargers were expected to be one of the top two teams in their division. They were expected to win the division early on. Obviously, there was some outliers about the Raiders. If a Raider fan, of course, you hype those up yourself. But and then the Broncos in that division have been streaking upward the last couple of years. So it's not, it wasn't like it was going to be a weak division this year. And the Chargers are definitely a team that has all of the talent and capabilities of being the team that comes out of the division on top when they execute. They just don't all the time. There's still issues that they have to figure out themselves, and I think that that's something they're going to keep working on. And this game for them should not be a game that they look past. But it's a game where you test out things, where you start to really get into the flow and kind of get that midseason stride that you're looking for.
The Minnesota Vikings are really bad. They're a really bad football team. Detroit, 9.5-point home favorites. I only have one question for you, Sean. I don't even really want to talk about this specific game. How did the Vikings win so many games last year? They didn't really lose anything other than their quarterback, which is important. But, like, this defense is awful. This offensive line is awful. These skill position players are god-awful. Like, what are we doing?
Well, the O'Connell system only works with a certain kind of quarterback, and Wentz is not that. The offense definitely got worse. The run game is not what it was last year. And I think at the end of the day, your defense is what really bolstered their last couple seasons, where he could just throw anybody in at quarterback, and they kind of played really consistently. And their defense kept them in a lot of games real close. They won a bunch of games at 21-23, 22-23, 23-24. A lot of games that they stayed in really, really tight. This season, we're not seeing that, and it also hurts when you have your quarterback go out. I mean, they're on their third starting quarterback this season. So I don't know what's happening in Minnesota, but their training team needs to figure out.
JJ's playing today.
Oh, JJ's back in? Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, it's not looking good for them for the rest of the season. And Detroit is hot. Detroit's doing their thing right now. They're going to be playing good football. This is a divisional game though, so there's always that knowledge of the team that comes into play when you play against each other so frequently. So if there's any team right now that might have a chance to beat Detroit in a catch them off guard kind of thing, it might be the Vikings today, but I just don't see it. Not at home. I just don't see it.
Hutchinson is going to end JJ's season today. If that line plays 2 times better than it played last week, McCarthy's season ends today. That's how bad that offensive line is. Like, Hutchinson for 2 sacks is like a no-brainer bet. You could probably get 3-1 money on that. And I don't know how they protect this kid and let him develop. I think he sucks, but the Vikings don't. The Vikings want him to be their quarterback.
He's a winner.
I don't know how do you get meaningful snaps for a guy to let him develop when your line is as bad as it is? I mean, you're a 3-4 team, so realistically, you're not making any noise at the trade deadline, which is Tuesday. So, like, you're not spending a whole bunch of money to go get a lineman in a 3-4 season. You wait for the offseason. But, like, that's what they should do. They need a line right now because you're putting your future at risk every snap. I mean, Wentz got brutalized. And some of that's on Wentz. Yeah. And he was playing hurt already. But, like, that line, the Lions are better. like I'm very
every single level, the Lions are a better team. I just think that Wentz is not the type of quarterback for that offense. He moves too much, and that line can't keep up with it. And really, it comes down to the D line that they're playing against. I mean, they're going to run some stunts. They're going to be swimming underneath, and so you're going to have some guys sliding. They're going to have to bring in that tackle eligible today. They're just going to have to do it. They're going to have to stack the box. They might have to go 2 tight end sets. They gotta do something to keep protection back there. There's going to be a lot more running back blocks today than you would expect to see to keep that quarterback protected.
I just like the game plan either has to be don't get the kid killed or like don't win, right? Because if you pull in 2 tight ends to block and you got another tackle out there and your running backs are blocking, Jefferson's going to be triple covered. That's how the math works. Where the hell are you going to go with the ball? Like, you just snap the ball and take a knee? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the backlash if the Vikings don't run a single offensive play? They just snap the ball and take a knee the entire game? Like, what would the NFL even do?
Oh my goodness. I mean, honestly though, it depends on if they can throw Detroit off by doing that, and then the game ends up being like a 6-7 game because it's 2 field goals and 1 touchdown. That would be fucking hilarious.
Like I cannot think of a way the Vikings can keep McCarthy safe other than that. And even then,
they're going to have to. They're going to have to run directly at Hutchinson. They're going to have to double team him. They're going to have to boot out. They're going to have to do whatever they can do to kind of to keep him on his toes. Keep him not knowing what your scheme, not knowing what your blocking scheme is going to be. That's really the best bet that you got in order to win this game.
Falcons go to New England and play the Patriots. I feel like every single week I ask who the Falcons are. This Patriots team is a lot better than I thought they were going to be. And I think I'm ready to say that if the Falcons lose this game, we can write them off for the rest of this season. Everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
Everybody's back. You're 3-4. If you drop this game to the Patriots, you're going to be 4 games behind the Bucs. I think this is kind of it. I need the Falcons to show me the good Falcons because they have been wildly inconsistent this year.
The Patriots look good right now. And on top of that, they don't have the toughest schedule. I mean, you got Miami on the back half. You got the Jets, Miami and the Jets to close out the season. You got the Giants and Cincinnati and the Jets again in a couple weeks, and you got Tampa Bay and Atlanta. So really, a winnable game in Atlanta, a tough game at Tampa Bay, Jets game you should win, Bengals game you should win, Giants game you should win, tough game at Buffalo, tough game at Baltimore, Jets game you should win, Miami game you should win. I mean, that's a solid back half of the season. If we're looking at like a 12-13 win Patriots team, like what does that say about the Drake May era?
And they're a game and a half up on the Bills. It's not inconceivable that this Patriots team wins the division. You know, the Bills are getting in, like we talked about, but the Patriots could win the division.
Oh yeah. Think about that though. Think about this AFC potential playoff, right? We're looking at a Colts that you didn't expect to come out of nowhere. You're looking at the Patriots, who I did not expect to see like this season. You're looking at Bills as a wild card. You're looking at Chiefs potentially being a wild card. You're looking at a 10 win. You're looking at a 10-win Baltimore team that wins their division. Like, this is football, baby. This is what we came here for. Honestly, I'm here for it. I'm enjoying it. It's been a fun season, man. It's cool to see these teams kind of battling it out, and I love to see when guys you don't necessarily expect so much from really coming out there and giving you their all every week and putting their teams back on the map. This is what organizations have been dreaming of. If you're the Patriots, you're like, we're back. This is it.
And then the NFC, that Packers tie is going to factor in.
Bro,
who wins that division?
It is
giving up 40 points to the Cowboys and not coming away with that win is going to throw a wrench in something. Let's talk about the Colts. Colts and Steelers. This is an important one. I have in my notes as a question, AFC Championship preview. The Steelers have not played to that level yet. If they can hold off the Ravens, I think this is a team that could do better in January than they do in the regular season. A lot of leadership, a lot of veterans on that Steelers team, but they got to get there first. And I am not sure that they beat the Colts. I don't know that I can game plan a scenario where they slow down this Colts offense. And I am not sure the Steelers offense can keep up with that pace.
Steelers offense has had some really good flashes of brilliance. It really comes down to that veteran leadership, though. You are absolutely correct. At the end of the day, you got to be vintage Rodgers. You got to be the guy who controls that offense, one who keeps the Colts' very high-powered offense off the field. If you can control the clock, again, you can control the line. You can give the Colts some fits here and play your game. I just don't see that necessarily being the case though, because right now the Steelers are trending downward. They haven't been playing their best football. They're losing games that they should win. And so you start, and I'm just waiting to hear the first couple excuses from Rodgers before the team starts to collapse emotionally. That's usually what I wait for. Mike Tomlin is the only quarterback I feel like that would be able to hold the reins there. But we'll see how long that lasts with the guy like Rodgers. His attitude just kind of flip flops whenever it does, and that's when your team is in trouble. So as long as he has the locker room, then they're in good shape. But if he loses that locker room, then we're just looking at another Jet situation again.
The Texans are favored at home over the Broncos, which I think is fair. I have the Broncos winning this game. Tell me
1.5 is a lot.
tell me how the Texans can beat the Broncos here.
If the best way to Texas to beat the Broncos is to stop Bo Nix from getting out of the pocket. When he is held and you can keep your secondary keeping those receivers in check. Then you give your defensive line time and they can get to him. That's your best bet. That and obviously controlling the game clock. The Texans just have not been a team that I've seen any consistency from. Denver has been a team that's been, in my opinion, streaking upward the last couple of years. That they definitely found their guy in Bo Nix. But for me, their receiver core isn't doing it. Mims is solid, but like Sutton has not performed in the way that I would have expected him to, and so I want to see him. And there you go. So I mean, if you force him to sit back there and find those guys, that's your best chance because he's just not hitting them the way that I'd like to see, and they're not getting the ball, they're not getting the yak. So that's probably where I would go if I'm the Texans. Flip side, defense wins championships. Defense wins game. If the Broncos can keep C.J. Stroud on his back and keep him flustered and don't let him get comfortable, that's their best bet.
No Surtain this week. Obviously, you'd rather have him out there than not, but the Texans aren't great on the outsides. Wide receivers are fast, but don't run especially good routes. So I think they'll be okay on the backside. I think the Broncos can put up more points. This really feels like where the Broncos start to pick up steam. You have this game against the Texans. You have a home game against the Raiders. Then you get the Chiefs at home on 10 days of rest. If there's a stretch for the Broncos to get hot, it has to be here. Obviously played the Giants and the Jets both really, really close, but won those games and then really put a whooping on the Cowboys, which I think is more representative of who they actually are. You get through the Chiefs, you get the Commanders, the Raiders, Jaguars at the end of the season here, and you kind of can coast into the playoffs from there. But obviously that Chiefs game is a big one, but you have to beat the Texans today to start that path. If you lose to the Texans today, you probably lose to the Chiefs in 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, it's going to be it won't be an easy game to play the Raiders either. Again, divisional game. These teams have played each other over the years, and it's one that if you try to look past it, they'll sneak up on you, and suddenly it's a 21-20 game that you lose. To a Raiders
Thursday night game. So
there you go.
Shit anyway.
Yep, you never really know, man. Thursday night games have been wild. Thursday night games have been some of the more fun games. Not gonna lie, this season it's the Amazon with their stream, unpaid. But like honestly, I don't want to say that it early on the first couple years it was weird. It was like, why are these teams playing? The last couple of weeks this season, solid on Thursdays. So good job.
Yeah, I watched the stat version and mute it, and it's glorious. It's the closest thing you'll get to a live all 22 camera. I like that Madden angle because I can actually see what the hell is going on in the defensive secondary. Bears and Bengals. Bears 2.5-point road favorites here. I don't have much on this game. This is one I'm interested to watch, however. What do you have for Bears Bengals?
Is Browning in? Or is Flacco? Who's starting today? That's my question for you. It depends on who's starting at quarterback. Yeah, right
Flacco's playing.
Now you got Flacco's questionable? Okay. All right. I'll tell you right now, he gives them the best chance to win this game. This is a very important game for the Bears. Every game is an important game for the Bears because they still haven't given me the identity that they're supposed to have. I still don't feel like I know who the Bears are. And to beat a hobbly, on your backup quarterback, losing a potential, Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, but then Flacco's nothing to sneeze at, and then offensive line, the offensive skill players for the Bengals are still some of the best in the NFL. They still play really well together, and so their defense has played better this season than they played in the last season. So I think that this is a game that the Bears really need to say, hey, look, like this is us moving forward. This is us moving up. Like we're ready. Like we are taking ourselves to that next level. So we'll see how the play call goes. Really, I know a lot of people are arguing about play call. From myself, that's one of their biggest issues in Chicago. And I think it's something that we're going to have to see some good execution from them today on offense and on defense in order for them to actually start moving forward for that team and in that division.
I think Rome is going to feast against this Bengals defense. I think he's in for a big day. My issue with the Bears is which version are they? Are they the team that got ass whooped by the Lions? Are they the team that put a beating on the Cowboys? Are they the team that squeaked past the Commanders with like no real offense at all? I don't know which version of the Bears is the real one, and I'm not sure which one we're going to get. Losing to the Ravens 30-16 is unacceptable if you are considering yourself a real contender in the NFC. Cooper Rush should not beat a real contender. And they got thumped by him. I mean, I don't know which Bears team is the real Bears team. They lost to the Vikings to open the season. They played the Saints tight. I don't know. I think my expectations for the Bears are higher than they probably should be. But you look at the talent on this roster, and I think their expectations should be higher than they are. This is a good offense that has some growing to do. And I know they've had some injuries on defense as well, but I mean, held the Commanders to 24, held the Cowboys to 14, had the Lions in check for a half. I mean, like they've shown flashes of competence, and then it's the Bears.
Yeah, here's my take. Number one, never use the Cowboys as an example of a team playing well and putting an ass whooping. That just seems like a pretty common occurrence. I've heard you say it 2 or 3 times so far against these teams, and I'm like, I think the trend here is that the Cowboys suck. But the Bears team just has not shown me that they can beat a team with a good offense. They just can't beat a team with a good offense. You can beat the Vikings, not a good offense. The Cowboys are very inconsistent. The Raiders offense, you beat the Raiders by 1 point. The Commanders offense, you beat the Commanders by 1 point. You beat New Orleans, but you beat them by 12 in a game that Caleb Williams only threw for 172. So it was definitely a game that was heavily leaning on Swift. And then you get that ass whooped by Baltimore. And so it's like, and really what it comes down to for me is the run game. In the games where they won, Swift needs to do better. The last 2 games that they won, he had over 100 yards rushing, but the Cowboys and the Raiders, 33 and 38. So like you need to have more of a well-rounded offense. Caleb Williams hasn't thrown for 300 yards this season yet. 298 is his best against the Cowboys, who obviously have Swiss cheese as their secondary. And so you really want to make sure that like if you're opening up your offense by having your running game actually work, then it gives your quarterback the ability to boot out and to make some of the reads. But if you become very one-dimensional, then everybody knows what to do.
No Swift today.
There you go.
So, not great for a team that needs to get the run game going.
Yep.
Panthers, Packers.
Now this game,
probably.
this was my dark horse game of the week. This was the game that I actually wanted to. Why?
Why
because
do we keep looking at Panthers games and wondering like if they just beat a team they shouldn't? Like this is like the 3rd or 4th time this season we've been like, well, is it that 30-0 game against the Falcons? Is it coloring like our whole perspective on the Panthers? Packers are 12.5-point favorites.
No, honestly, no. I think it's just the inconsistency of the Panthers. They randomly play really well. Or teams play down to them. I think that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm used to seeing. It's like either they play good or the other team plays poorly. And so like I could totally see this being a game where the Panthers just came out and played a good game. I could also see them getting blown out by 30. Like it's either one of those things happen. But anytime I see the Panthers play, I just get excited to watch them play because I don't know what's going to be on the field. I don't know what product they're going to release. And having your starting running back and Chuba go down, and then your backup running back play pretty consistently in the same way, is something that you always want to see from a team. We've been talking about how Bryce Young was, maybe he wasn't. Is he going to? And now I'm like, you know what? Every week, I don't know what the Panthers are going to put on the field, but it's going to be something fun to watch. And you're going to watch the game because we got a lot of friends who are Packers fans, so they're definitely going to watch this game anyway. So anytime I get to give them shit is always a plus.
I took the points with the Panthers because we just don't know.
Why not?
Saints and Rams. The Saints have finally made a change at quarterback. Probably the guy that should have been the quarterback from the beginning of the season. Not to say he's going to be good, but definitely would have positioned them better than Rattler did. I think the Rams demolished the Saints. Rattler sucks. Rattler sucked in college. He sucks in the NFL. I don't like. Let's not pretend like a wet paper bag wouldn't be a better quarterback than Rattler.
I'm not
in the Saints system.
Look, I am not saying that Spencer Rattler is a top tier or mid tier quarterback in the NFL at all. I'm not saying he should be a starter. However, Shaw's not giving me anything either. He pronounced that last name.
It's Shuck. Shuck.
I don't know if he's the guy. He's the man for the job. I think that there are guys in the NFL right now that are backups on a bench that should be starting over both of these guys. I would start Russell Wilson over these two guys. Easy.
Winston. Fucking Winston. Why?
Winston should have a starting job right now. I don't know.
He got hurt, and they gave the job to Andy fucking Dalton, and the Saints have been a dumpster fire ever since. These are just facts. And Winston's just hanging out with Jackson Dart's mom, just doing weird shit. Like what? Like we had Drew Brees.
He should be a starter in the NFL. He should be a starter in the NFL. For
quarterbacks look like. Yes, yes, and Shuck and Rattler will fumble a clipboard, man. Like it's not. See, sometimes I'm like, I am still a Saints fan. It's still in there somewhere.
Well, they gotta hurt. They hurt you. God,
it's so
they hurt so bad.
Speaking of hurting you, Jaguars Raiders. I have one note, Sean. I'll let you talk about your Raiders. I have two ships passing in the night. Shit ships. These teams are bad.
I don't think the Jaguars are as bad as you're saying right now. I think that they are a team who is moving forward. 4-3 right now. They're obviously losing. Obviously, losing Travis Hunter is a big deal. When the Swiss Army knife no longer works,
is it a big deal?
Yes, it is a big deal, Rick.
Why?
Because he plays offense and defense
badly.
And if you want to call him the second best receiver and the third best cornerback, guess what? He's still a guy who makes an impact on your team. He's still a guy who makes an impact in your locker room. That these things matter. These things matter, Rick. All right, let's call a spade a spade. If you got a guy who's prominent on both your offense and your defense, losing that guy matters. You got to take two. It's 22.
You angered the dogs with your Travis Hunter nonsense.
Oh, behave.
The Jags beat the Chiefs. Unique set of circumstances for that, obviously. But then they put up 12 points against the Seahawks and 7 points against the Rams. And that's kind of where my concern creeps in with the Jaguars is they have pieces there. Right? Trevor Lawrence has shown flashes of greatness. He also makes a lot of boneheaded mistakes and some really bad throws from time to time. So I guess what I want to see from the Jaguars against a Raiders team that somehow feels in a similar position developmentally, even though they're way younger. I think the Jaguars should have this game to lose, right? 3-point favorites on the road. On paper, they're probably better than the Raiders. But the fact that this game is closer than it should be when the Raiders are very much building up and the Jaguars are supposed to be already established, I think that tells me what I need to know about the Jaguars. So I like the Raiders to win this game. I like the Raiders to win outright. And I think it's two scorers.
I do not feel like the Jags are as established of a team. I think that they have really been a mid to bottom tier team in the last few years. The Trevor Lawrence era is definitely rife with a lot of hype, tons of hype, too much money going to people that shouldn't have gotten paid. And now you're looking at these guys and going, "What the hell is going on?" But they always bring in a guy, and that guy shows flashes of, "Hey, this guy's gonna be really good," and then he kind of fizzles out. They I don't know why they signed Christian Kirk to that ridiculous contract, and then he's gone. But now they have Thomas, and they're like, okay, now this is going to be our guy. They bring in Etienne, and they're like, all right, this guy's got flashes, so he's going to be really good. Now what's happening? Now who's their running back? And so like you see that this team, these young guys, they bring them in. It's really a college team that eventually guys just age out of. They come in, they get a lot of hype. Hunter is hyped, but I'm telling you right now, I did not expect him to be the number one wide receiver and or number one cornerback on any NFL team. Realistically, I definitely saw him as being a guy who could contribute on both sides of the ball, but losing him definitely affects your team. And at the end of the day, like this game right here for me, it's a Raiders win that they have to get in order for them to show that they're moving in the right direction. If you're the Jags, it's the same thing. You should be able to beat the team who, you haven't seen have consistent run game, haven't seen have a consistent pass game, and you've seen Geno Smith, when he gets flustered, suddenly there's a lot of picks. And I'll say this and I'll say it again. The Raiders at the end of the day are a team who has a lot of potential without the execution. I think that their receiver core is still too small. I think that they need to bolster that up. And when they can get some bodies, some bigger bodies, in that receiver core, get some guys that are going to fight for the ball a little more, then Geno might be a little more accurate with some of those throws. Offensive line is always something that I worry about with my team, with the Raiders. So, I mean, if the Jags spend their time in the backfield, it's their game to win.
I'll do a short on Hunter so that I don't do it now. Have a lot of thoughts on the kid. I give him a hard time, but he's a good football player. Being the number 2 pick overall is my problem with Hunter. Seahawks, Washington football team. Sean, for me here, if the Commanders lose this game, they're the same old Redskins. They are streaky. They're inconsistent. They have a talented, the best Washington quarterback in the last 50 years was Donovan McNabb. Like, that's a problem. So for me, like, Washington needs to win this game against the Seahawks at home with pretty much everybody healthy, or they need to figure out what's next because they have holes all over the place. I know the running backs is an injury thing, right? But you should be able to win games
back and forth.
But you should be able to win games with the wide receiver core that they have and a healthy quarterback and Bill. He's not good, but like, are you that guy or not? Are you that guy or not?
I just think it's inconsistency in play, but a part of it is not getting a flow or a rhythm. I mean, this year alone, they have to switch running backs because of injuries. They've had to switch quarterback because of injuries. They've had receivers in and out for whatever reason. And so they just haven't had the team together to play as a full unit. And on top of that, I mean, the back half of their schedule is not easy. You got the Eagles twice. You got torched by the Cowboys. So, I mean, I can't really say that game's going to change anything. Seahawks are a good team. Detroit is a really good team. Denver is a good team. And then, you got to play a divisional team against the Giants who are just going to be hungry at the end of the season. So they don't have an easy schedule in the back half at all. I think what it comes down to is them being able to play as a cohesive unit. They just haven't had that this season at all. If you're them, this isn't necessarily a lost season, but it's not what you expected. And I think that there's some takeaways from it that you can get if you can play consistently throughout the second half of the season. I think there's some things that you can pick up. I don't expect you're going to beat the Eagles in anything. I don't expect that they would come out even 2 in their. They're not going to come out 2 in their own division if they keep playing like this. But I think that at the end of the day, they might have some pieces together if they can show some consistency in play and keep those guys healthy on the back half of the season.
Cardinals Cowboys is the Monday night football game. If I'm the Cardinals, I am calling 31 NFL teams and I'm taking 60 cents on the dollar for Kyler Murray before the trade deadline. I'm getting him off my team. He is a cancer. He is not a winner. They are better without him. I am doing everything I can to get that preposterous salary off my books. I'm done. I'm done with Kyler Murray. He's not playing this week. Call of Duty comes out in 2 weeks. Like, this dude is done. Kyler Murray, it was a fun experiment. He's a hell of an athlete. Should have picked baseball. Athlete. He should have picked baseball.
No, if you're Kyler Murray, I'm not picking baseball. I'm playing football. What do you mean? I only got to play
money. He would have just won a ring with the Dodgers.
Think about how many games he has to play in football, and think about how many games he would have to play in baseball.
But he only plays 25% of the games he's supposed to play.
Exactly. If he played baseball, he's not playing 25% of the games. He's still going to play 40, 50 games. And that's if you have him at pitcher.
That's 25%.
Yeah, but I'm saying football, he only has to play like 12. He has to play, what, freaking 6 games a year? Like, what do you like? That's great. If I'm him, I'm picking football all day, every day. All right, give me a $200 million contract and have me play 6 games a year. Yeah, I'm doing that, bro. What are you talking about? You know how many levels he would have had to go up and down for baseball? Nah, I'm taking that money. I'm taking that NFL money, and I will retire, whether it's forced or whether it's I'm taking the money. I'm taking the money.
So all jokes aside, I think the Cardinals are better without Kyler Murray. Brissett's going to play. We've talked about the Cowboys at length. I think this is a game the Cardinals can win. Cowboys losing on Monday Night Football feels like a Cowboys thing to do. So I think the talent is there. I know that they're a little stretched thin at running back, the Cardinals are. But I think that the Cardinals can position themselves well. Marvin Harrison is better than any defensive player that the Cowboys have from a coverage standpoint. As long as he can keep his head on straight and run clean routes, I think the Cardinals win this game.
The Cowboys should win this game. Their offense is actually a good offense. It's a talented offense. It's a defense that is, again, Swiss cheese on the back end. And their linebacker core is heavily injured as well. You can't expect any week for the Cowboys to give up less than 25, 30 points. The question to me is whether or not the Cardinals score 25, 30 points. Because if they score 26, 27, they win this game potentially. But the Cowboys can at any point in time put up 40 points in a game. I mean, this year the Cowboys have 1, 2, 3, 4 games of scoring 40. They actually have the highest average, or one of the highest average scores per game. And they're a 3-4-1 team. The last 5 games, the Cowboys only scored less than 30 points one time this season. The first game against the Eagles,
246 points this year, behind only the Colts.
Exactly. Look at that. 40, 31, 40, 37, 30, 44, 44. Their offense is scoring. It's ridiculous that their offense is scoring, but they're still somehow losing these games because at the end of the day, you can't give up the points. Your defense has to be able to hold. Javonte Williams is running the ball. He's doing a pretty decent job. I mean, he's got a couple of games over 100, an 85, a 97 game, a 76. And so CD has got pretty much 100 yards receiving in every game he plays. I mean, Dak's not playing terribly. They're a team who has a potent offense. The defense isn't doing it for me. They just can't get it together.
Can you imagine? I don't know if they do it at the trade deadline or if you could get a player Micah Parsons, maybe like an elite level pass rusher. I know he's probably not available, but if the Cowboys could get an edge rusher like that, I mean, they might be top of the NFC.
But are they going to pay him? Man?
I'm not a GM.
It just seems like a guy who might want to get paid a little bit and maybe not felt like a second class player on a terrible defense.
Wild. The NFL is insane. All right, that's the board. Sean, you got any last minute notes for week 9 here?
Honestly, I'm just excited. It's going to be a fun week of football. Shout out Club 602. Shout out Phantom Odds. Shout out Chainlink. Make sure you get your bets in this week, guys. It's going to be another fun week. I'm excited. We got some friends in town. We're going to go do a little brunching. So, to everybody out there, just enjoy life while you can. Enjoy football season while you can. We're halfway through it, man, and it's over in the blink of an eye.
Inactives are rolling in. Check your lineups. Get your bets down.
Mm-hmm.
This should be a good one. There's some interesting games on this board.
Last but not least, time change, baby. Time change. So now we get to start football at 11. Beautiful. Beautiful.
This has been Yelling and Screaming. I'm Rick. He's Sean. Thanks for joining us. We will see you guys next week.
Take care, y'all.